In today's lecture, we are going to discuss growth forms. So this is another qualitative character of a plant community. We will have another term related to this which is called life form. Okay, basically both these, they are same attributes. The life forms are the typical one which were given by Ronquier and later on by Blanquet. We will discuss it in detail, and the modern terminology that we use for these is the growth forms, but the meaning is same. We are discussing here the visible structure and appearance of the plant. So what is the appearance of the plant? What is its height? What is its nature? Is it herbaceous, a tree? Okay, that is called the growth form. Now, various growth forms which have been differentiated on the basis of height, form and shape of stem and leaves, whether they are evergreen or deciduous in nature. So on that criteria, we have given number of growth forms in plants. The first most common one is trees. Now you all know what are trees. These are perennial, long-lived plants which have great height. They have thick woody stem which is known as trunk. Now further, depending upon what is its overall shape, we have classified trees into the caudex or columnar. This is the case when the stem is unbranched, as you see in case of coconut, in date palm. So that is caudex or columnar. But we call it culm. Culm is a case when you observe that the stem is jointed. Here you can see the case of bamboos. You can see the stem, the nodal regions, they give the appearance as if the stem is jointed. So if it gives the jointed appearance, having the solid nodes and the hollow internodes, then it is called culm. Example is bamboos. Now further, the branch stems. So earlier we talked about the unbranched stems. Now if let's suppose in trees the stem is branched, then we have the excurrent and the decurrent types. The excurrent type is when the trunk produces narrow lateral branches in acropetal manner, as you see this in case of pinus. So we have number of branches and they are arising in acropetal manner, means the younger branches, they are present at the tip, the mature branches are present at the base. So this is the arrangement called excurrent. Same you observe in case of eucalyptus also. Now the second type is called decurrent. Decurrent is a type in which trunk will grow for a certain distance and then it will disappear. So you have a very short trunk, and after that number of branches they arise in all directions, so that overall the tree gives a dome shaped appearance. Then we call it decurrent type of the branched stems. So this we observe in case of mango, banyan, dalbergia, all those trees which have dense canopy, they have decurrent type of the stems. Now the second category after trees, we have lianas. What are lianas? These are woody climbers. These are generally observed in tropical environments. As you all know, the tropical conditions where the temperature is high, there is lot of rainfall, so air is very humid. So these are the conditions which are optimum for the growth of plants. So that's why generally in these areas, in the tropical regions, we find evergreen forests. Now in those evergreen forests, the vines, the climbers, since the canopy of the trees is very dense, so the whatever vegetation is growing below those trees, that is not getting sufficient sunlight. So those climbers, they have to climb up the trunks of the trees and reach the top surface, and slowly and gradually these stems, the weak stems, they become woody. So they are called lianas. This is a case as we observe in case of bignonia. This is bignonia. Then third category is shrubs. Shrubs, again you know, these are perennial plants. They are medium sized. These are woody in nature and they have bushy appearance. So this is an important part. They have bushy appearance. There is no single trunk present. So right from the base, they will start showing the branching, and all branches, they will be woody. So they are called shrubs. For example, the commonest one at home we have is rose. Then you observe China rose, jasmine. Fourth category is epiphytes. Epiphytes are the plants which grow on another plants. And why they are growing on another plants? That is for space only. Otherwise, the plants, they are photosynthetic. They can prepare their food. They can absorb moisture from the air. So they are not dependent for nourishment on the host plant. Rather, they are dependent on the supporting plant for space only. Okay, so they are called epiphytes. Example here is Vanda. Vanda is a very common species. These are the leaves you can see here. A particular one you can easily recognize whenever you visit any hill station. You can observe Vanda growing over the trees there, and there will be the roots hanging from the plant. These roots, they are having the velamen tissue which is hygroscopic in nature, so it can absorb moisture from air. There are some roots which are meant for clinging to the support and few roots which are meant for absorbing moisture from air. So these plants, they are called epiphytes, and they don't withdraw any kind of the nourishment from the supporting plant. Then comes herbs. Herbs are small, annual, biennial or perennial. Okay, they may belong to any of these categories. But what is the main feature? That they have soft, flexible green stems. They are easily pliable stems. And they are short-lived plants. They don't show any secondary growth, so you will not observe woody structures in case of herbs. Now, in herbs, we have another subcategory called ephemerals. Ephemerals are the plants which have very short lifespan. Their lifespan is very short. They will complete their life cycle within 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes days. For example, for Arabidopsis, it is only 14 days. So they will complete their life cycle, means from the seed will germinate, they will form plants, plants will have sexual reproduction, they will give rise to seeds again. So the life cycle is complete and the body is going to perish. So such plants are called ephemeral plants. Now we have other categories. Ferns, graminoids, forbs, they are considered under herbs. Now what are these plants? Ferns, you all know, they are the pteridophytes. They have the leaves which are laminized, highly dissected, very large sized leaves called fronds. The common example you have studied is Dryopteris pteris. Second comes graminoids. What are graminoids? These include grasses and grass-like plants. Okay, they are called graminoids. And what are forbs? Forbs, whatever herbs, other herbs are there. Okay, means which are not grasses. The other herbs, they are called forbs. So all these, they come in the category of herbs. Then we have lower plants. Lower plants means thallophytes, means which have the vegetative thallus or the reproductive or the sporophytic thallus attached to the substratum, and it is having very less height. For example, you have observed Funaria. Its sporophytes, they may grow few mm long, but otherwise their body does not show true leaf, stem, root-like structures. They are thallophytes. So under these we have lichens, lichen. Then these are the lichens. You have observed different classes of lichens, different types like crustose lichens, fruticose, foliose lichens. Then there are mosses. Mosses, these are the plants under bryophytes, and the most common example is Funaria. Liverworts which have totally thalloid body, and in this the common example you have studied is Markentia. There is Markentia, Polytrichum, they are under liverworts. So you have observed this kind of the structures where gamma cups are present, right? So these are thallophytes. So they are called the lower plants. So that's all about the growth forms. So growth forms, basically we observe that it is on the basis of the texture of the stem. Is it woody or not? Is it pliable? Is it green? And it is on the basis of height of the plants. Okay. Now next qualitative character is disseminule type. It's not there in your book, so we'll just write a small paragraph on this. So this is another qualitative character called disseminule. What is disseminule? Disseminule means now we are defining plants on the basis of their dispersal organ. Okay, which agency is involved in the dispersal of seeds or fruits? That is called disseminule. It's a fresh addition to the community characters. It was introduced by Densher and Lems in 1957. Now, on the basis of the agent which is involved in dispersal, we have 4 different types of diseminules. Now what are these 4 types? The first one is called anemochores. Now you have studied anemophily. That was pollination with the help of wind. Now anemochores, these are the types, plant types in which dispersal is by means of wind or air. Common example, you have studied pinus, right? Then zoochores. Zoochores are the plants. Now this is a term for plants, okay? We are not talking about pollination. These are the plants in which dispersal is with the help of, so you will write complete line, with the help of animals. Then we will call it zoochores. And here the common example in second year you have studied xanthium, guava. Then third is hydrochores. Hydrochores means plants disperse their fruits or seeds with the help of water. They are called hydrochores. For example, hydrilla, Eichhornia. And last is autochores. Autochores means which are self-dispersed. Means no external agency is involved in dispersal. And this is observed in case of vinca, sadabahar. There is another plant, very pretty plant. The flowers, they are red in color. It is called Ruellia. There also we observe the autochore type. So these are the, on the basis of the dispersal organ, that which agency is involved in plants for dispersal, on that basis we have given 4 classes. Okay, so this much you will write under the character disseminule type. Now comes life forms. It's a detailed one. You can get a separate 7-mark questions on life forms, and we will discuss in quite detail. Some part may be missing in your book, so you will have addition from here. What is life form? I told you growth form and life form is one and the same thing. Here also we are observing the appearance of plant. So this is a vegetative appearance. Now we are specifying, we are only bothered about, we only care about the vegetative appearance of the plant. Means what is the height of the plant and what vegetative buds are present, what is the level of the buds. So we will discuss these things under life forms. So it's a vegetative appearance of the plant based on its size, shape, branching, crown and lifespan. Means whether the plant is able to finish its life cycle within few days or it grows for years. Now the first such classification that was given by Ronquier. Ronquier identified total 5 different types of life forms in plant community. And what was the criteria? The criteria was the resting organs meant to pass through severe winter or summer. Those resting organs means now we are focused about buds, okay, perinating buds. So we are concerned about them. On that basis, on that criteria, he gave 5 life forms in the plant community. Now, what were the assumptions he made? That whether a community should be called advanced or primitive, that was on the basis, he said that the original climate of the earth was hot and moist. It means the plants which grow in the tropical areas, tropical plants, they are primitive. Okay, and the plants which are growing in the cold climate, they are the evolved forms. So this is the assumption he made. Whatever plants you observe in the colder areas, they are advanced, and what are observed in the tropical environments, they are primitive. Then height of the perinating buds, that also reflects primitiveness. Means if the vegetative bud or the perinating bud, resting bud, that is at a great height, let's suppose it is at 2 meters from the ground level, then that plant will be primitive as compared to the plant which is having the perinating buds just close to the soil surface. Okay, so I hope you can understand. Let's suppose this is a tree. Okay, on this the perinating buds are present here, and there is a huge gap of around 2 meters from soil. And we have another plant which is growing like this, close to the soil surface, and its perinating buds are here, which are close to the soil surface. They may be underground also. You will have studied rhizomes, corms, so they may be even below soil surface. So this plant will be advanced as compared to the one which is having the perinating buds at certain height. Okay, so these were the assumptions by Ronk here. Now on that basis we have 5 life forms. The first one is called phanerophytes. What are phanerophytes? These are trees. Okay, the most common species we know, which most common type of the life form. What are trees? We have already discussed in the growth forms. These are woody perennial plants. Their stems, they grow into air. Their resting buds, they are at the height more than 10 centimeters above the soil surface. It is even more than 10. It's around 10 centimeter or up to meters. Okay. And under this we cover trees, shrubs, succulents, lianas, epiphytes. Epiphytes was a fresh addition to this category, which later on we shifted. That we'll discuss later on. Now, further divided, the phanerophytes, they were further divided on the basis of the height into the nanophanerophytes, means which have a height of 25 to 200 centimeters. Microphanerophytes, which have a height of 2 to 8 meters. Mesophanerophytes, 8 to 30 meters. And megaphanerophytes, very, very tall trees which have a height more than 30 meters. So it means on the basis of height, the plants, they have been classified into various phanerophytes. And see, all these, they have woody stems. And their resting buds, they are at a level 30 centimeter above the soil surface. Okay, their bud should be minimum at a height of 30 centimeters. So they will be called phanerophytes. We have an example like Camellia japonica. Then another example is ledum. You need not remember these examples. This is just for your information. I told you the epiphytes. They were a later addition to the system of phanerophytes. But later on they were separated and they have been kept under aerophytes. Why? Because phanerophytes, we are giving the reference of height of the birds 30 centimeters from the soil. 10 centimeters from the soil. Now these are the plants which are present in air, right? We cannot correlate them on that criteria as phanerophytes have been defined. So that's why they have been separated from phanerophytes and they have been kept under a separate category which is called aerophytes. Then comes chamephytes. What are chamephytes? These are again the woody plants, but see their buds, they are present near the soil surface. So this is important. Now there is no gap of 10 centimeters or more. The buds, they are very close to the soil surface and overall height of the plant, maximum, it can go up to 25 to 30 centimeters. Okay, so these are short, straight woody plants. Example is periwinkle. Periwinkle, you all know, it is Sadabahar. Then we have bilberry. This is bilberry. So all these cases, they are woody plants, but they are short, straight woody plants. Their maximum height can go up to 25 to 30 centimeter and their perinating buds will lie close to the soil surface. Then comes hemicryptophytes. Hemicryptophytes, these are perennial herbs now. Now we are talking about herbs. The woody character has ended. So these will be perennial herbs and their buds, they will lie close to the soil surface. Okay, so what is the difference from the chamephytes? Chamephytes were woody plants and the buds were close to the soil surface, but these also have buds close to the soil surface, but these are herbs. They are perennial herbs. For example, you all know about daisies. Okay, and we have daisies and dandelions. So these are the plants in which we generally observe they are the perennial plants and their buds are very close to the soil, but they are herbs. Now, these have been further divided into the proto-hemicryptophytes. What are proto-hemicryptophytes? Which have only colline foliage. Colline means upright foliage. Aerial foliage. Then, this is the aerial foliage. Leaves. Then, partial rosette plants. Partial rosette means they will have aerial foliage as well as the rosette foliage. For example, close to the soil surface, the leaves are arranged in the form of rosette and above that you have aerial plant as well. So this will be partial rosette plant. And what is a rosette plant? Means they have only rosette foliage. So you will have the leaves just close to the soil surface. Then they will have their reproductive structures. Okay. So these are the three categories of hemicryptophytes. Then comes cryptophytes. Cryptophytes, these are subterranean or underwater resting birds. So now we are talking about either under soil. The birds, they will be under soil or they will be underwater. All those plants, they are called cryptophytes. Now on the basis further, they have been categorized into the geophytes. Geophytes are the plants which rest in dry soil as a rhizome, bulb, culm, etc. Okay, it is etc. Examples are crocus, Crocus caesar, tulips. So all those in which the birds are underground, they are called geophytes. Helophytes are which are found in marshy areas. So in the marshy areas, the birds, they are present in the mud. Okay, you have studied many marshy area plants. We have marsh marigold, there is reed mass, you have red typha. Then another is hydrophytes. Hydrophytes in which birds are present in water. So these are the plants. They may be submerged hydrophytes. They may be present on the surface, but birds will always be underwater. Example is water lilies. Now this is typha. This is an example of the helophytes. Then we have crocus. Crocus is of the geophytes. Then we have Philostachys. This is bamboo. Its buds are also underground. So it's an example of geophytes. Next category is therophytes. Therophytes, these are also herbs and they produce seeds, but they survive for a very short duration. Okay, so they will complete their life cycle once the environment is favorable, the conditions are favorable, and then they will immediately shed their seeds. The seeds, they can survive the unfavorable conditions, and again when the favorable conditions return, the seeds will germinate. So basically these are the plants which are very short-lived plants. They are herbaceous plants. Example is Polygonum. This is Polygonum. So you can see here the plant is going to complete its life cycle within few weeks only, and it will shed seeds. Again when the favorable conditions return, those seeds will germinate. So all such plants are called therophytes. Now this is a diagram. You can make any one out of these. The purpose of having two diagrams here is only that in this diagram we haven't shown therophytes. Okay, so you can see here the first one. You will refer this column for this one. So the phanerophytes. Phanerophytes, I told you, they are the woody plants in which the birds are present minimum I am saying. So it is either greater than or equal to 10 centimeter height from the soil surface. So these are the birds here. You can see they are present at a height. They are called the phanerophytes, which basically include shrubs, trees, epiphytes. Then comes the chemiphytes. So these two examples are for chemiphytes. They may have upright plants, maximum height, but it will be only 25 to 30 centimeters. But their buds are present close to the soil. Look, these are the buds. Or they may be plants which are having the foliage close to the soil. Okay, they may be kind of prostrate plants. So here buds again, they lie close to the soil. So these are chemiphytes. Then comes the next category, hemicryptophytes. What are hemicryptophytes? In this we have the plants, their buds are present just close to the soil. It is touching the soil. Okay, and these are herbaceous plants. I told you, you can remember this from hemicryptophytes, H. So these are all herbaceous plants. Their buds are also close to soil. They are also close to soil. The difference is these are woody plants, whereas the hemicryptophytes, they are herbaceous plants. Then comes the geophytes. Geophytes in which the buds are underground, present below soil. So you can have the example of rhizomes, any example which is having rhizomes, culms, bulbs, etc. So they will come under geophytes. Then comes helophytes. Helophytes are the plant which are found in marshy areas. So their buds are present in the mud. Okay. Then there are hydrophytes. These two are hydrophytes which are having their buds in water. So this is another example. The first one is same, phanerophytes, tall plants. Then we have chemiphytes, which are woody plants, but their buds are close to soil. Then we have the C. C is for the hemicryptophytes, which are herbaceous plants and buds are close to the soil. Then you have geophytes, in which the buds are underground. And then here, the last category, which was missing in this diagram, that is therophytes. What are therophytes? These were the plants which complete their life cycle in few weeks. They have a short life cycle. Life cycle in few weeks. So they will grow for few weeks only and they will shed the seeds. So this is a normal plant. Okay, you can say this category include annuals. So these are herbaceous annuals. So that's all about the life forms of Ronquier. Now further, I told you when we discussed the frequency classes, the new data, new information was introduced by Braun and Blanquet there. Similarly here also, in the Ronquier's classes, in the Ronquier's life forms, fresh addition was made by them in 1951 and they designated these total 10 types of life forms. Okay, phytoplanktons, you all know, microscopic plants. Then we have phytoedephone. What are phytoediphones? These are basically the plants in which we say that the flora is microscopic, but it is in soil. See, planktons, they are in water. They are microscopic, but in water. These are also microscopic, but these are in soil. For example, bacteria. So they considered bacteria as a life form in the plant communities, right? They are present in soil. Then we have endophytes. You all know what are endophytes? The organisms which live in another organisms, which are completely inside the other organisms. And we see this in case of lichens, right? Similarly, we see in animals also endozoophytes. Then what are therophytes? This we already know. These are the plants which are having the pteridophytes in them. Then they have tree species, shrubs in them. Epiphytes in them. Then hydrophytes, plants which are found in water. Geophytes, plants which are having buds underground. Hemicryptophyte, you know, these are the herbs in which the plants have buds close to the soil. Then there are chemiphytes in which the plants, they have height of 25 to 30 centimeter and the buds, they are close to soil, but these plants, they are woody. Then you have phanerophytes and epiphytes. Okay, so these are the categories. Phanerophytes, these are the tree species, you know, shrubs, trees, etc. Epiphytes, which grow over another plants. Okay, epiphytes are not here. Therophytes, these are the annuals which complete their life cycle very early. So these are the different categories which were proposed by Braun and Blanquet. That was a further addition to the life forms proposed by Ronquier. Okay, so you just have to mention these. The name is sufficient, no need to write information about that, but you will explain the life forms proposed by Ronquier in detail along with any one diagram. Okay, this is a better one because it is explaining maximum categories. So you will draw this diagram. So that's all for today.